blood racing. For you, my life is changing. I'm feeling bad. When I was small, I guess I wasn't good enough for that. I give you shit I never had. I could see me in your eyes. Never thought beauty could come from digging in some thighs. I could see it clear as day the night you arrived. It made me realize I gotta change my life. The limits to sky before you was born. Every night I praise God. Remember I used to talk to you through the mortal flesh. Even if the world ain't just me and my daughter left. I've been more than blessed, with so much to learn and no time to live. I make the best of my life so I can raise my kids. The past is the past, so fuck what I did. We had visions, now it's sad to say some shit missing. So what's the next mission? No more pain, no more pain. No more running in spots, hundreds and knots, no more hitting the block with money and rocks. I'm trying to rap for dough, hear the crowd clap for more. I ain't trying to grab. What is going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? What is going on in the building tonight? I had to play that "No More Pain," man, because I don't know, it was perfect for the subject matter. You know what I'm talking about tonight, and it's very big. It's this subject is dear to my heart, and I know it's probably dear to a lot of other people. Um, Tonight, I want to talk about self forgiveness, and this man, this is it hits so many things, and and forgiving your past self. That's actually how what I titled this: forgiving your past self. And so I got some notes, and I'll dialogue it as I go through. But this is powerful. Um, a lot of times in life, where a lot of us are at in life, and and whether male, female, black, white, whatever, um, we're at a stage where a lot of us have had turning points in our life where we've decided to switch it up. You know what I mean? To switch it up, the things we do, uh, how we live our life, our morals, our values. Um, you know what I mean? We've decided to switch things up a little bit and change. And throughout all that, we got to ask ourselves, still, even through the transformation, we got to ask ourselves, do we still are we really forgiving our past self? Um, I say that is because I spent I'm talking about several years, um, never forgiving my past self and past mistakes I made. And I believe a lot of the things that I did in my life, I did it to make up for past guilt. Um, you know, you I didn't high school. I didn't graduate from high school. I didn't walk. I got all the way to 12th grade, thought I was grown. Um, you know what I'm saying? And I came out early. I was already doing everything a grown up is supposed to do anyway, right? So I came out. I came out early, and I'm like, I can do this thing. I can do life right now. Right now, I don't need to finish these classes. Literally, was a senior. Like I was even going to school half a day. I literally was there, but once I was getting, I was up in age, and and I just, back then, you know what I'm saying, 98, 99, you can, like, if you were 18, you can go work at a temp service. And I'm like, this is what it's going to be about anyway, about going to work, getting a job. So I did it. And so,
Yeah, it didn't hit me until my daughter, and that's why No More Pain is very powerful to me. It didn't hit me until my daughter became 5, and I realized that I need to quit playing with life. I need to quit playing with things that I was doing and taking things for granted. I had a lot of little different things going on. Had got myself into some trouble. Um, was had to report to probation officers, all that stuff, and you know, and and throughout all that, it came a time in my life where my PO at the time, Ellen Folk, you know, a lot of people, if you guys are you know, all the knuckleheads in the late '90s, y'all know who Ellen Folk is, and Pam Grimes, y'all know who they are. Um, Roughest POs ever, but that was back in the day when POs really did lightweight care. They lightweight didn't want to always lock you up. I could say my PO really seen something in me, and she seen something different. Um, what she seen was my true morals and my true values of the man I really was. Beside this slick guy who think he's slick and can get away with everything. Um, so seeing my daughter start school, I told myself, I'm like, I cannot walk her into this school building. She was 5, starting kindergarten. I said I cannot walk her into this school building without without having my stuff together. So before she started school, I busted butt. I got in an adult education program, and literally, I knocked my GED out and all that stuff, and I was done before she started school. And that's how serious I was about it. Not only that, it was a job. I got myself like completely got myself together. I was really being a knucklehead, really being irresponsible. And so, from there, um, I wanted to play catch up because all my friends had moved on and to great careers. Air Force electricians and special and all fancy careers, got to see the world, got to travel for free, like all that fun stuff. And me, I spent years trying to figure it out. And as I kept spending those years, I started to kind of funnel off and really dive. You know, I didn't go right, I went left. I really started to dive off the deep end into a different pattern, a different path than it was supposed to be the certain path I was on. And I had end up just really getting myself into some knucklehead stuff. And like I said, it's more about that, if you guys um, you know, it's more about a little bit about those interactions in my book, The Businessman. I want to just keep plugging that. Make sure you guys go to Amazon and check that out. But um, you know, throughout the years, I would always check in with my best friends, Tony Pounds, Ruben Miles, Pedro Gordon. You know what I mean? Those, you know what I'm saying? And they always, their life was always progressing, and I felt so much guilt and shame. Like, look at you, Ryan. Like, you didn't finish school. They all got done, went off and did what they were supposed to do, and they're living great lives. They're traveling. Every time you talk to them, they're in the airport or they're all taking guys trips to Miami, and you're so stuck because you're at either a dead end job or like you're playing catch up. You should have just stayed going right. So what happened was not only did I not stay going right, but I went all the way left, and then I got out there into the area of going left and really got the going out there, and that's when it became the survival thing, and the grind and the hustle and all that, and I was determined to just catch up. I mean, oh, okay, yeah, I ain't go to school, but I'm out here doing this and whatever. And, you know what I mean? And it was just rough. Fast forward throughout all that. There came a period in my life where morals, things I was taught by my grandfather taught me a lesson. And I wanted to truly get myself together and turn things around, get back in that right lane where I was meant to be. And, so not only did, like I said, I finished my adult education part early, but I went ahead and I said, you know what? I didn't get to, give my mom the opportunity to see her son graduate. Put myself through college, worked hard, busted butt, because I wanted my mom to see her son walk across that, the podium and get that degree. And I was just, I wasn't dumb. You know what I mean? I had my experience was based on a lot of common sense, street smarts, and then you know, also, with job training, I was just always good at learning on the job. So I put myself through college, got my degrees. Um, my mom got to see me, and it was during COVID. So it was my kids, it was my daughter and my son and my mom. They got to see me walk across, even though it was like jumped out of a car because it was COVID. It was like a drive-through thing, but got my degree, and I purposely did this. It was for satisfaction. It was for it was literally for satisfaction to feel like I made something in my life. Feeling guilty, feeling so guilty that of what I didn't become from high school and dropping out of high school that I wanted to make up for it. And doing all these things and trying to just catch up and say, well, my life did amount to something because look, I got a college degree. Like I literally did it just, what I mean? I just feel for the longest, it was just trying to play the catch up game. You know what I mean? It was just like now I can, because my friends can say, well, I was in the Air Force and this is this, and then I got this degree and I got this certificate, and so I at least want to be like, well, okay, I did this. I went to college. I could say that even though I went completely left, did a lot of different things. I wanted to say that my life amounted to something. So fast forward to just completely the change. Upon getting into the corporate, the managing, the food service, the more degrees, the complete different lane of life, and walking in that right path that I was determined to put myself in. Um, for the longest, I still never forgave myself. I punished myself based on things that would go on in my life, thinking like, well, I deserve it for being a knucklehead. I deserve it for making the wrong decisions. I deserve it for what I did. Um, I wasn't forgiving myself. I wasn't forgiving myself for dropping out of school. I wasn't, what I mean? And even fast forwarding into the life I was, the gooder side of the things I was doing, I still didn't feel like a fulfillment in my heart. Like, it's kind of like, what did you do? You know what I mean? Like, you still didn't feel like that ain't enough. I still, I mean, mentally in my head, people are literally telling me, Brian, man, you really are doing, man, you're really successful. You're doing good. And it was times in my head where I'm thinking like, no, I'm not. I'm like, my friends are just real successful. They made so much of their lives. They've got to see so much. They got to do so much. Me, what I mean? I just been, really trying to make it and not really seeing the success of what I do. So nothing I did to me was worth even being acknowledged because I felt like it wasn't enough. Um, the training, as I did more training, I wanted to do so much training. You know what I mean? I wanted to bust my butt. Even when I got to the point where like I got to making good salaries in my jobs and stuff like that, I still feel like I could have been doing so much better. So let's talk about that. Like, the psychology behind self-forgiveness reduces, it's called rumination. You stop replaying the old mistakes like mental reruns. And that was big. You know, I used to always play my old mistakes. Every old mistake I made, I played them like reruns. This is happening to you because of this. Because this is what you did. Remember when you did this? This is why this is happening to you. Um, it increases self efficiency. You start believing you can change, learning how to forgive yourself. Once you learn how to forgive yourself, you start believing you can change. It rewires your narrative, shifting from I messed up to I learned something, right? Shifting from I really messed up when I dropped out of school to like, you know what? I learned a lot when I dropped out of school. I learned a lot that by doing this, like I could truly say, and my best friend Tony would always tell me was like, man, you learn things that we would never experience. You know, he would tell me like you experience things that we would never experience by the direction you went. We all went that clear cut direction we supposed to go, and we turned right. You didn't go right by not going completely the same route. Most people do. You learn so much more about life than we would ever know, and we get and he would always tell me, he was like, man, I tell my kids about you. He said because you experienced life and turned things around for yourself, and you was in some stuff, and you were still able to turn things around. So it's hard though. It's to break that identity fusion, separating who you are now from who you were then. And I feel I've got to the point where I can, because I was a person I used to be was very foolish. Man, he was. I ain't gonna lie. He thought he was slick. I mean, he thought you could touch him. They it used to be Scanderman. They used to literally call me that. That's crazy. I used to think I was a real slick individual. What nothing I couldn't get away with, what nothing I could. And it's what I mean, especially when I put my hard hat on and get busy. And you know what I mean? And some of those things to this day is I wouldn't even touch nothing nowhere near that identity, because it reminds me of something. And I almost look at it like the things you got away with and the things that you had to learn from, God gave you that chance. And by God giving you that chance, don't play around. Do not play around. So, you know what I mean? I learned that. I learned a little bit from that. And more and more how to forgive myself. What does forgiving yourself do to contribute to the person you are today? Um, it settles up all that excess baggage, that trauma, right? That you have. It gets rid of that. By forgiving yourself, and not only you forgiving yourself, sometimes people go through things where people don't forgive them. Even though they forgave themselves, people don't forgive them. You know, and that's big, because you may forgive yourself, but some people still don't forgive you for things you did and things that happened when you were in another, when your life was on a different page. So learning to forgive yourself is very powerful on how you move forward in your life. Um, you can't, it's and that's just not just from what you did in your past, things that happened in your past. Learn to forgive yourself for that. For that friendship that went left, for that marriage that went bad, for that for anything, for any of the mishaps, any things that you went left and you messed up at. Learn to forgive yourself. It's okay. Like, and God isn't going to penalize you for everything you did and keep penalizing you. That's one thing I learned. He ain't going to keep penalizing you. Forgive yourself, ask for forgiveness, and move forward. So how do we practice that? Acknowledge your past honestly. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't exaggerate it. You know, acknowledge it. You know, I was a knucklehead. I did a lot of stupid stuff. I did a lot of stupid stuff that a lot of people that know me will be like, what? Yeah. But people who know me be like, yeah, he did. he was. But look at him now. But he was too cunning for his own. Um, Recognize the conditions you were under. Yes. Recognize the conditions you were under. I did some things because I was under some crazy conditions. Like, survival mode stuff. And you know what I mean? But you think about it, it's like, okay, those times it was a whole different era. Younger person, different situation. Yeah, way different. You know what I mean? Um, Got to separate your identity from action. You did things. You are not only you did things. You don't you did things. You are not only those things. Okay, I got that. I got that. You did things. That don't mean those things was me. You know, like I said, I can't. I'm not gonna sit there and them things ain't me. Those were situational actions that I was in the moment of when that happened. You know what I mean? And release the need for punishment. I don't owe myself a life sentence. So therefore, if I go through a miserable stage or a down stage or a stage where I feel like life is not favorable, I'm not going to sit here and say I deserve this. I'm not going to sit here and say I deserve this, and I deserve what's coming to me. I deserve what's going on. I deserve it. Like, no, I don't, and don't claim that. You know, um, keep building your new identity intentionally. Forgiveness sticks when you have something new to step into. Keep stepping into that new identity. Keep stepping into that new lifestyle. Keep stepping into that new way of doing things every day. You know, um, my main thing I'm trying to get better at is stepping into the purpose God got for me and not being scared. Um, I truly believe the things that I excel at, uh, you know, the things, the job, the work, the community, the communication and just working through people and helping people. I truly believe that's a knack of mine. I just have to accept it and really learn how to flourish and not care about what people may think. This right here, these series I've been doing is a good step in that direction and just kind of getting forward in that identity and betting on myself, Uh the outcome is when you forgive your past self, you stop fighting ghosts. I For years I've been one that and I could truly say I'm really progressed, but for years I felt I was fighting ghosts. For years I felt like every time something would go bad with me, like I would say about 5, maybe 8 years back, situation I'm going through now, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. With in between jobs and stuff. And I would say I deserve it. I would say, well, you know what, Ryan? It's because your life is this. This is what's because remember what you did? Remember that? You know what I mean? You deserve that because, you know, you deserve it. Yeah, I would really be like, this is happening only because because I didn't do life the right I didn't follow the right GPS upon life. Um you know. But when you forgive your past self, you stop fighting ghosts. You free up mental energy to build the version of you that's waiting to emerge. When you stop feeling guilty for yourself, you can look past all that BS and move forward. When you stop feeling guilty for yourself. You know what my mom calls it? My mom calls it a pity party. She is quick to be like, get off that, we ain't gonna do it. Get off that pity party. That's why right now I'm prone to whenever unfavorable situations happen, I can't, I can't do too much pity party. I get told about myself. I get told off because it's cool. It's like, get up, let's go. No pity party. We ain't got time for no pity party. Let's go. Let's get up and let's make it happen. Um, you know, that's very important to have no pity parties. Um, you know, and when you're waiting on that, you know what I mean, and once you get done having that pity party and you build that version of the one waiting to emerge out of yourself, that wise one, that calm one, and that more aligned with the purpose. Because let me tell you something, that wise one is only wise because everything he learned by all those decisions that he don't want to forgive himself with, he's wiser because of that. He's wiser because I'm wiser because, you know, I chose to do what happens when you drop out of school. Because you know why I'm wiser? Because I had to learn all that stuff by messing up. You know, the stuff that we tell our kids, right? The stuff we when our kids don't want to listen to us and we be like, I'm just trying to tell you. And they just like, I gotta learn from myself. I literally went through life that way. Everything I had to hit my head. Boom, hit my head. Boom, hit my head, hit my head. Then then I learned. Then I learned. I almost feel like a way of parenting is that's kind of like solid. We try to tell our kids the right thing, but it's almost like, man, maybe this still have to learn to hit their head like I did. We don't want to. I don't want my kids to hit their head like I did, but you know, it happens. You know, my daughter, she will be 27 in a week, about a week and a half. And she's our, I think she's going through the same pattern. I always tease her because I feel like she's taking her route is the same thing as mine. You know, getting her act together at a certain age and stuff, and then learning her lesson through hardships. And but same thing with her. You know, she's learning to forgive herself. You know what I mean? We got to do that to move forward and step into this new age and new person that we're stepping into. Uh, this was deep to my heart tonight. This was deep to my heart because I feel a lot of us, right? You know, when we talk about reformating, reformation and changing, right? Changing our directive in our direction in life, um, we don't talk about enough about what it's like um, keeping keeping it together. You know, I know and then we talk about inmates that get out of prison. Talk about them and the chance of recidivism, and when they get out, we talk about how hard it is because a lot of times when they get out, they be like, "I'm about to do this, blah blah blah," and then the world doesn't accept them because of their past, right? The world they forgive themselves, but the world doesn't forgive them. In their eyes, they will always be that person that was incarcerated. So it's very hard to change things about yourself and change the direction when everybody sees you as that. So it starts here with you forgiving yourself and not looking behind. But sometimes the world gives you a very rough shot. They do because they never let it go. They never let it go. Records, they never let them go. You know, it's just it happens. But you know, so and my thing is, my calling. What I want to say is, I want to speak to that person that young kid who maybe made a wrong decision, right? And everybody looks at him based off that decision, but he was really meant for a greater purpose. And he sees his mistakes and he's trying to get himself back into that lane. Do it. Don't worry about it. Get back in that lane. God wants you in that lane. You're supposed to be in that lane. It's okay. We all make mistakes. We're all forgiven, and just move forward. To that to that person that's lived life on a different channel, that's lived on a different side of the fence, but really knows he was meant for more and wants to slowly transform his purpose. You can do it. And don't worry about what those people on that side think of you. Don't worry about it. Because throughout it all, if they are really your friends, they're going to respect you and you're going to move and you're going to be able to shed your light on everybody and be wiser, more calmer about situations. Even when hardships come, you know, first thing a hardship come to me, you know, it ain't never, oh, shoot, well, you already know what's going to happen. Like, you never got to worry about that. You got to never worry about that because I have over 20 years of business and management experience in what I do. And I have too much experience at being what I am. I'm an asset to myself. I'm an asset to my family. I'm an asset to the city of Mansfield. And I'm an asset to any business that gives me a shot. That's if I choose to want a business to give me a shot. You know what I mean? And I believe that wholeheartedly. So I don't believe the options are dead for me. I believe long as I, keep going forward and moving forward in the stage I'm at now, the world will only get better. It's experiences, right? So you learned and you lived and you learned from all those rough and negative things you did and experience you had in your life. You live and you learn on the positive side. You take burns, you take losses in this life too. Just like you took them on the negative side on doing stuff. If you're out there, in the streets hustling and all that, doing whatever, you take burns, you get burnt, you lose, you fall off, and then if you're a hustler, you get back up. In the same way, if you was a hustler in the streets and you knew how to get back up, you knew how to bounce back from being down, you know what I'm saying, or from a drought or whatever. On that other side of the fence, if something happens to you, you still a hustler. You still know how to bounce back from anything. You know what I'm saying? The mentality is still there. You know what I mean? It's just channel it to different things. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. It is nothing to it. The heart and the soul of you never loses and it never goes nowhere. You know what I mean? You got to understand that. If you got it in you to bounce back, you're going to bounce back. So my words I want to tell you guys. I see a lot of young cats, and I see a lot of young cats that may came home from jail because they made some crazy decisions, and they trying to get it right. And I hear them. I got to go to work. I'm going to work in the morning. I ain't out here playing around with that. But then sometimes they be in situations they were like, man, now I ain't trying to be all in this because they know how I get down. And it's like they struggle a little bit because they know what they come from and they know where they trying to go. And I'm thinking like, don't let people beat you out of what you have worked so hard to change. But most of all, learning to forgive yourself is where it starts at. Once you learn to forgive yourself, I think everything is smooth sailing. You ain't guilty about it because a lot of us never forgive ourselves. And the fact that we never forgive ourselves, we never move forward from our past self. So, and I speak to anybody on any whatever lifestyle you come from, from whatever lifestyle you come from. It could be drug addiction. It could be, it could be anything. It could be, what I'm saying, just doing crime. Or I don't know, whatever. If you know what I'm saying, and if you living your life different now, forgive yourself, and it's okay. We all make mistakes. We've all been curious. Our kids nowadays are so curious. Those the kids that and the most curious kids is the kids that don't that us as parents we try to keep them away from all that. They're so curious, so thugged out. It's like, come on, man. And we try as parents. We try so hard. I am the speech giver. I am the lecturer. Uh, my daughter and son, they get together and talk about me like a dog about my lectures, about how much they hate them. I don't care. They're going to get them every time. They talk about it because they long, and the only thing they do is, yeah, yeah, okay. But then my daughter, though, cool thing about my daughter is actually she's at the age now where a lot of that stuff then kicked in, so she can get back with me and be like, "Dad, you did tell me this," and I'd be like, "Yes, I knew you was listening. It didn't seem like you was listening, but you were listening." My son is just he's on the listening stage. He ain't repeating back what he listening to. So, but I know he's listening, and because I always ask for confirmation, but I know I'll be glad when he can come to me and say, "Dad, remember when you told me this? I remember this happened to me, and I did this because I remember what you said." And so, yeah, I'll be glad when that report comes in. But yeah, you know what I mean. Thanks for stopping in and let's talk. Uh, the UPNO live series, man, new series I've been doing based on and these series are going to be based on mental health talks like this, on learning how to forgive yourself. We're going to talk some business, corporate stuff. I got what I mean. I got stuff to talk about, and I'm looking forward to coming soon to start getting some guests and stuff on the platform and doing more of these. But you can check us out here on Facebook on the UPNO Live channel, Facebook under UPNO Music, UPNO on a UPNO Music channel and media channel. You'll be able to check out a lot of these shorts, podcasts, and stuff like that. Go on there, subscribe. I'm going to actually make sure I start putting all that stuff here in the description, getting better at that. But if you guys see the reels and stuff like that, click on it, subscribe to the page, share, what I mean, stuff like that. I'm going to try to keep hitting you guys with these, what I mean, throughout the week, building up a lot of content and stuff like that. And my goal is hopefully as I build up this content and I just get some listeners and people that's really digging the subject matter and the content and want to talk more about it and bigger platforms and I would love to do a open panel like a broadcast and an open panel discussion like what I mean, we pick a venue and we literally have some panelists and we just talk and we just do the let's talk series like that. I think that'd be dope. I think that's something I might shoot for and to do. Just find a venue and invite people and I don't know, may have a luncheon. I don't know. It's just let's talk about some things and let's do it for the culture. And let's what I mean, let's have some real good talking and some real good, down to earth subject matter and get to it. But other than that, man, you guys just stay tuned. I'm going to keep hitting you guys with content and doing what I do best. But thank you guys for stopping in. UPNO Live presents Let's Talk. Tonight's session, we were just talking about learning how to forgive ourselves and learning how to forgive. You know what I'm saying? Forgive our past and move forward into the future. But you know, all right. I've been Ryan James. This has been UPNO Live. All right, peace.
Having young babies, I'm vexed to the point that I wanna bomb Hades. How the fuck is not Jay gon' know right from wrong when wrong is right? Every time shit get tight, how the fuck I'ma tell her to go to school when I dropped out? The easy way I copped out right before she popped out. And right now I got out. The police watch me, but they ain't stopping me. Cause in 99 I had to cop a plea. The pain overrising me, but surprising me, I'm still a lyrical prodigy. No more pain, no more pain. My life is much better now, I share it with you. Cause there's some times in the past I wasn't there with you. I know your nights felt long, days even longer. Still your mind's found many ways to make it stronger. Don't worry son, the pain is no longer. You my seed, forever you gon' be a part of me. And when I get down on my knees at night, I thank the Lord above, you was sent to me right. And if it meant for me to die, for you to live life, I'ma do it in a second, damn right. You my light, my shine, I think about you all the time. Inspired by this shit, got me writing this rhyme. And I ain't gotta tell you how this shit gon' end, cause I'ma be there as your father, as well as your friend. Letting you know, never feel I'm sweating, you know. I'm just trying to get you ready for the world, you know, you know. No more pain.